I've had this eRevo 2.0 for about 3 months now, and I've thoroughly put it through its paces. It's one tough truck. Have a blast with it. However, I have had some minor issues with it. I did have the servo problem, and I swapped it out for a single Savox servo. And I've had the problems with the shock rod ends and the rod ends coming off. I had an extra set of shocks from a 110 Summit I've had, and I put those on the rear and put some 50 weight oil in them with the orange springs. And I also glued all the rod ends on, and I used some zip ties for some limiting straps. And ever since I've done that, I have had no issues with things coming apart on the rods or the shocks. The other day, I noticed that my right rear tire and A-arm, bottom A-arm, was extremely loose and wobbling around quite a bit. So I had to stop and see what was going on. So when I flipped her over, I noticed that where the A-arm hooks to the rear diff housing, one of the silver dowel rods that hold the A-arm on was missing. So I took the rear and center skid plates off, and I could look and see where the pin goes through the lower half of the diff cover, and you can see where the plastic ripped away, letting the pin fall out. I had to order Traxxas part number 8629, which is the whole diff cover assembly, top and bottom, and all the hardware. It cost me $16.80. And part number 5321, which was the hardened steel pin set, that set me back $5. Since I had to take the bottom diff cover off, I thought I might as well go ahead and check the diff and everything out and see how stuff was holding up after 3 months of abuse. One thing really nice about the eRevo design is that you can take the rear diff out without having to take the whole rear module. I don't run this vehicle in water or mud, but as you can see, some dirt and grime did get inside the diff cases. There was still a nice coat of factory grease on the ring and pinion gears. The dust seals on the bearings had quite a bit of grime on them all, but the bearings themselves were still in good shape. Good thing I decided to check the diff. I pulled it apart, and the factory oil was pretty much goopy and toast. Cleaned all the bearings and gears, seals, and the plastic parts, and was nice to find out that everything was still in good shape. No missing teeth, no chips, no wear actually whatsoever. I went ahead and refilled the rear diff with 500,000 weight diff oil. Just gonna see how that does. Fresh coat of waterproof grease on the drive gears. Use some spray foam degreaser cleaner to clean up the top half of the differential housing. And then put all the assembled parts back into the diff housing for final assembly and to finish this up. And finally, here's how I attach the zip tie between the body mount and the top A-arm to prevent the rod ends from coming off, and so far this has worked real well for me. I have glued the rod ends on also. Well, that's it. Time to go out and get some. Thanks for watching.